What are Trump accounts? If you have children, there's a major new financial tool you need to know about, launched as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill. These are technically called 530A Trump accounts. You've heard of 529, but the official label 530. But think of them as a starter IRA, individual retirement account for every American child. They're tax-deferred investment accounts designed to build long-term wealth from birth through high school. Now, whether you have a newborn or a teenager, these accounts are officially slated to become available for funding on July 5th, 2026. You could say these are retirement accounts for newborns, which sounds like an oxymoron, but they have a lot of flexibility with the right tactics and knowledge and strategies, which I will share in this and other What's Next with Money videos. The real thing about the Trump accounts is the newborn bonus, the $1,000 seed. If your child is born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, that's a 4-year block, the U.S. Treasury will deposit a one-time $1,000 grant directly into their account to get them started. You don't have to put in a dime of your own money to get this. But what if your kids are already in elementary or high school? They are still eligible to open a Trump account. While they won't get that specific $1,000 federal seed, they can still benefit from the unique tax advantages and private donations and family donations. For example, the Dell Foundation has already pledged to give $250 for millions of children aged 10 and under in certain areas in the United States. That's a whopping $6.25 billion gift. Now you might wonder how you, maybe your boss, can contribute. The power of these accounts is in their unique, flexible architecture, kind of like open source for broad funding opportunity. Parents, grandparents, friends can contribute up to $5,000 per year per child, $5,000 per year per child through that age 18. Now, unlike the standard IRA rules, your child doesn't need to have a job or earned income for you to contribute. Even better, your employer can get involved. Companies can contribute up to $2,500 per year into your child's account tax-free. Some corporations like Chipotle, JP Morgan Chase, and Uber have already announced they will match the government's $1,000 seed for their employees' kids. And state governments, they can set up their own matching or grant programs at their discretion. So let's look at the rules, the investing, and the issue of withdrawals. So you might wonder, now where does this money go? Where is it invested in? By law, it must be invested in low-cost U.S. equity index funds like the S&P 500. The goal is investing in all-American growth with very low fees capped at 0.1%. And you can see more about this at the website TrumpAccounts.gov, TrumpAccounts.gov. Now this design has some restrictions, but this is for the long haul. Money cannot be withdrawn until the child turns 18. Now, once they hit 18, this Trump account officially becomes theirs and converts suddenly into a traditional IRA, otherwise known as a contributory IRA. Now, your kids can let it keep growing for retirement or use it for major milestones as they get older, like a down payment on a home. Now, there are already in the IRA laws some limited IRA breaks for first-time home buyers. Now, these are subject to the regular rules of contributory IRAs. Now, even in the educational expenses area, there are opportunities. You can use an IRA to pay for qualified higher education expenses without paying the usual 10% early withdrawal penalty, even if you are under age 59 and a half. Now, you still pay tax on the withdrawal. While the penalty is waived, there are several specific rules and tax implications to keep in mind. Now, this is for higher education qualified expenses. You might say, what are these qualified expenses? These include tuition, fees, books, supplies, and equipment required for enrollment. Room and board can be part of this, but it's a little more restrictive. This is only a qualified expense if the student is enrolled at least half-time. And then you might say, okay, what's an eligible student for this kind of education benefit for a contributory regular IRA? You can use the funds for yourself, if you're the kid that owns it, or now maybe an adult that keeps owning it, your spouse, your children, and your grandchildren. But get some outside advice. Then there's the issue of tax treatment by IRA type. Of course, the Trump account at age 18 becomes a traditional regular contributory IRA. Now you will owe ordinary income tax on any of the amount withdrawn or the entire amount withdrawn. But yet there is a 10% early withdrawal penalty plus that income tax due if you withdraw while you're under age 59 and a half. Now, the withdrawal is penalty-free, but not tax-free. And we did mention some of those exceptions about first-time home buyers and education expenses. Well, let's go over to the other kind of IRA that everybody seems to love more and more, the Roth IRA. Now, you can always withdraw your contributions tax and penalty-free generally at any time, but that account needs to be at least 5 years old or you are 59 and a half or older. Now, where do the Roths come into the Trump accounts? You can even convert your Trump account IRA after age 18 to a Roth IRA for a lifetime of no tax. But somebody's going to have to pay the tax on the conversion, the time you withdraw the money from the contributory IRA. A Roth conversion, though, cannot be done until that account holder is 18 and the Trump account becomes that traditional IRA. But here's a little bit of good news about Roth conversions, and I actively use them in my investing activities. You don't have to Roth convert all the money in that IRA. You could do a partial conversion. If the traditional IRA account has been held a long time, the cost of a Roth conversion could be large. So here's a pro tip. When the stock market is down and you're not happy about it, here's something to get happy about. That is the perfect opportunity to consider and do a Roth conversion, partial or all the way. You will pay less tax because the account value subject to income tax is lower because the markets are lower. So that index fund total amount shrinks. Now, this is a reason to be happy with normal stock market volatility. But remember, the reason all this works, we're investing for the long run. Now, there's another small tax consideration. For example, after age 18 and through age 24, the child is subject to something called the Kiddie Tax. So that's tax for youth on unearned income because the Kiddie Tax is tied to their parents' tax rate, which is higher. At age 24, that Kiddie Tax linked to the parents' tax rate goes away. See a CFP professional for more insights with this strategy. And again, how to start all this into the Trump account world. You can elect to open a Trump account by filing IRS Form 4547 on your tax return, or simpler, on July 5th, 2026, a dedicated portal at TrumpAccounts.gov will allow you to fund that account and claim the one-time $1,000 seed grant if eligible. And over at Treasury, they are working with the tech private sector, building an app with financial education. And this app is going to be improved over time, and we understand that some of it may be gamified in the future. So financial education that is interactive, interesting, and very contemporary. But make sure you're ready to act. Check with your family, including grandparents, your employer's HR department, to be ready to get that $1,000 seed grant if eligible, but mostly to just set up the account no matter what the age of the child is, and look for other ways to fund it or add money, perhaps even from the kids' saving or work, even though work is not a requirement for this type of IRA. And you can also see our comment section for a more bulleted summary and in our video description about many of the items I've mentioned and other links. And stay tuned for other videos on Trump accounts here at What's Next with Money. The opportunity is now. Go to TrumpAccounts.gov and don't forget to subscribe. What's Next with Money